Hi, how's it going? My name is Ed Stamper, and today I'm showing you a video giving a recommendation of whether to buy or rent a home for new home buyers in today's economic state. To start off this video, I'm going to start with a little introduction on the past and the present housing market and how it will affect your decision of whether to buy or rent a home. Due to the crash of the United States housing market in mid-2008, many homeowners were basically left on the streets as they were forced to default on their mortgage for homes they could no longer afford. When home prices hit an all-time peak in early 2006, increase in the valuation of real property rose to unstable levels relative to homebuyers' incomes. This caused many homeowners had to file for bankruptcy in order to default on their mortgages that they couldn't afford to pay anymore. Due to the rising increase in foreclosure rates in 2006-2007, mid-2008, that's when the crash hit. This is a crisis in which the housing bubble predicted by economists years before finally hit, and many well-to-do Americans were forced to make complete lifestyle changes, selling their homes, being that they could no longer afford them. Those who were fortunate enough to still stick around and continue to make payments on their mortgages found themselves in positions of what we call negative equity. This is the point in which one found himself in higher mortgage debt than the actual value of the home. And then we get into the area of recovery. In recent years, the prices of homes have began to pick back up, nowhere near to the prices that they were in 2006, which was what you could argue unstable levels. I'm sure you all have heard of the old saying, if you can afford to buy, buy. Well, this might not always be true in the economic state that we're in today. As stated before, along with the decrease in the housing market, there was a rising trend of people renting homes. Being that they no longer had sufficient credit to qualify for a mortgage for a less expensive home, many people were forced to rent a home. When one thinks of the idea of rent versus buy, it may seem pretty obvious that the best decision would be to buy, as it would serve as a future investment, though at times this can be untrue. During the peak of the housing market in early 2006, this is probably the worst time to purchase a home in the last decade, as the price you're going to have to pay for the home would have been significantly higher than its actual worth in the next couple of years. Quickly following the crash of the market in 2008, this on the other hand was arguably the best time to purchase a home, if you could afford it or qualify for a mortgage, as home prices fell to an all-time low, thus meaning the next few years or so, it would most likely eventually be worth more than the price that was initially paid, this being a positive investment. Now we will get into the housing market today. Due to the current economic state, housing prices are just beginning to rise after hitting an all-time recent low in 2008, as I stated before. Yet, they are not nearly as high as the prices in 2006, so one could argue it would be a very good time to buy a home due to the low price. Using common sense, one would assume to buy. However, we will test in this video if this is actually the best decision for your wallet. We will now get into the actual methodology that was used for this study. The study area that we evaluated was in Ahwatukee, Arizona, which you guys may know is a small suburb in the southern Phoenix metropolitan area. Home type we evaluated was a one-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, your average suburban home. 30-year cash flow diagrams will be used to display a relevant cost-value analysis. A 20% down payment, a property tax of 1.5%, and $200 a month for utilities, and a mortgage interest rate of 3.375% will be used for this study. That mortgage rate, by the way, was based upon Mortgage Capital Associates rate for a 30-year home loan. Purchasing a home. As you can see by this equation, price is given by certain variables that factor into it and an amount of years that you're trying to find a price for. These variables are represented by A, annual cost, which is just your monthly cost times 12 months in a year. I is the average yearly inflation rate. It's just a constant that is found. This is the average yearly inflation of the dollar. N is the number of years that you're evaluating for. In this case, it's 30. HV, the home value, is the cost of the home. And R is the average Arizona home yearly appreciation, which was found online. For the resale value of the home, This price is given by HV times 1 plus R to the power n. HV again is the home value, R is average Arizona home yearly appreciation, and n is the number of years. Price of renting a home. Not nearly as many factors as you can see that go into it as purchasing a home, but some are similar. A, your annual cost again, monthly cost times 12. I, average yearly inflation rate, and N, your number of years. This is a cash flow chart of the average values of the 5 houses that we use in our study of the buyer's market. The average current value is $220,560. Year 1 consists of the average 20% down payment of $44,112. As you can see on the graph, it shows $59,798.26, but that number also takes into account the average monthly mortgage payments, taxes, insurance, and the average utility bill of $200. After 30 years, using the average appreciation rate of 3.9% and the average inflation rate of 3.71%, the house will have a resale value of $695,013.40. The total loss for the average house is $48,049 after the 30 years. This is a cash flow chart of the average values of houses 1 through 5 of the rented homes. These homes have a monthly rent of $1,153. The yearly costs are comprised of an average monthly utility bill of $200, as well as an average renter's insurance of $202. The total loss of renting the average house amounts to $334,341.23. There is no gain, as you could see in the other graph, due to the fact that these homes are rented. There is no return. You do not own the property, so you cannot sell it. Now we can begin the analysis of our data and calculations that we made previously. After taking the average appreciation of home values from the last 30 years, it was assumed that the next 30 years would have been the same value. The average appreciation for homes in Arizona was 3.9% every year. However, back in 2006, this appreciation value was nowhere near as high, as it may have well have been in the depreciation range, as from 2006 to 2008, home prices dropped by nearly 50%. 5 different 3-bedroom houses for sale and 5 different houses for rent were compared to form an average, as you saw before in the graphs. The present value of the houses for rent ranged from $344,446.72 to $311,120.10, with an average of $334,341.23. The present values for the houses for sale range from $46,975.29 to $48,882.98, with an average of $48,049.28. Now we will get into the recommendations of the report and give you an actual answer whether it's better to rent or buy a home. This report was aimed towards residents who plan on staying in a house for 30 years. Present values for those selling the homes range from $12,540 to $90,566. As for the rented homes, the present values came out to be around $330,000, assuming that the homeowner's insurance was $617.60. By comparing all the present values, it's obvious that for a person who's looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home for 30 years, they should buy the house. However, this choice might not be the best for everyone. Say someone was looking to live in a house for about 5 years, didn't know whether it would be better to rent or buy. As you can see in the previous cash flow diagram of buying the house, the first year just the down payment and mortgage costs would come out to $59,798.26. However, 5 years of renting the home would cost you a lot less than that. So, if you were in the 5-year plan of buying a home, it would most likely be better to rent. But as most new homeowners are, they aren't looking at a 5-year plan. They're looking to save the home as a future long-term investment.